Hogan Gidley on the line. Hogan from the White House, Deputy Communications Director for President Trump. He's been there for a very long time. He's very dialed in. Hogan, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate it, as always.
Hogan, the president's speech yesterday, I asked you to come on today to further explain what President Trump's plans are as we watch these cities burn, these stores ransacked, businesses torched and looted. What's the plan?
Well, listen, the president's been pretty clear about this starting way back, a couple weeks ago after this whole horrific tragedy began. And when you saw that death, you saw that video of George Floyd, you grieve for his family, for his friends, for the country, for that matter. When you see some instance like that, it makes you angry. You want justice to be done. The president's made that pretty clear as well. And yesterday was the culmination of many things. And I heard you say you wish you'd have said something a day earlier. Well, he spoke eloquently about this on Saturday when all the world was watching. The entire globe was fixated on Cape Canaveral, Florida, where the President of the United States was giving a message about the American spirit and the innovation and incredible bravery of those astronauts going into space. He dedicated about half that speech to George Floyd and the protesters that are peaceful, and we thank them for exercising their constitutional rights in a safe, reasonable manner. But he also told the looters and the rioters and the criminals to stop. There's no place for this. It doesn't go anywhere to honor the memory of Mr. Floyd. And even the Floyd family said the same thing, like, please quit doing these types of things. The president was very clear about this on Saturday, and no one covered that for whatever reason and bias the media may have in the matter. And he spoke on Monday instead, and he talked to governors earlier in the day, and he said, I've seen what's going on. I'm seeing what's going on. I'm getting briefed on what's going on across this country in your states, and it's got to stop. To try and rationalize this type of criminal behavior is ridiculous because, inside those businesses, many of them mom and pops, are livelihoods that are being destroyed. The coronavirus, hit everyone, square in the face. And now as they begin to reopen, you're gonna stab them in the back too by looting and rioting and destroying those businesses when they're finally trying to get back on their own 2 feet and provide for their families again. You're going to destroy those businesses that has nothing to do with Mr. Floyd or this horrific situation. And so the president came out and said, we're not going to do that anymore. I'm sorry, but you governors need to take control of your states. You mayors need to take control of your cities. And if you don't, I'm going to be there to help stop it because this can't continue anymore.
I agree with that 100%. I'm glad he made the statement. He did what he had to do, and certainly you had a deployment last night in Washington. Tell us about D.C. I'm not there. I'm going there tonight. I'm in Wilmington. I was in New Jersey and New York City last week. Tell me about what happened in Washington last night and how did that dovetail with what President Trump said he would do?
You will not recognize it when you get here. It is so sad what these people have done. You will not recognize it. I've gone down many city streets just to take a look and see, and I'm telling you, storefronts are all smashed in. Others are boarded up. It looks like a coastal town bracing for a Category 5 hurricane.
In my city?
It is so bad, John. These little jewelry stores completely cleaned out. Clothing stores cleaned out. Electronic stores cleaned out. Random restaurants destroyed. Pharmacies, all the major pharmacies, their windows are smashed out. They had to close their businesses down for a couple of days. Couldn't serve people and give people, life-saving medications. I've never seen anything like it. And cars burned. They burned the bathroom facility outside my window at Lafayette Square. They burned that church. The damage and destruction is completely needless and senseless. The people the person who viciously knelt on George Floyd's neck is in jail. He's facing charges, and that's exactly the way it should be. the folks who want to protest, again, we celebrate the right to do that, but you cannot do looting, rioting. You cannot destroy property. And I've seen so many people in media make excuses for it, and there is no excuse for this. When you come to this town, you're going to see things you never thought you'd see. Not just graffiti all over buildings. They destroy, they defaced the Veterans Building, Veterans Affairs Building. They burned not just the church, but the AFL-CIO. It's like out of a novel or some type of crazy Hollywood movie about citizens trying to just go lawless and destroy everything this country is. I've never seen anything like it, and I'm sorry that I'm on the radio and stumbling for words right now, but when you take a look across the country and you see so many people being killed or beaten because of this, when they had nothing to do with it whatsoever, and they're just trying to protect their own businesses, George Floyd's death is horrific. It is tragic, and as of this moment has begotten more death, and now the media isn't focused on justice. They're not focused on peaceful protesters. They're focused on the ones who are destroying things and beating up people and hurling bricks and bottles filled with urine at our Secret Service, for example, injuring upwards of 65, 75 of them. I mean, this is just uncalled for, and it's got to stop right now, and that's why the president took a look around and said, we cannot let our cities devolve into madness. And when you see some of the leaks coming out of a conversation he had with governors in which, so many in the media were appalled, the president said, to dominate the streets and take back your cities. Well, what's the opposite of dominating your streets and taking back your cities? Letting everyone riot? Letting everyone destroy businesses? It's insanity, and it's got to stop, and this president is the one to do it.
I have to tell you, Hogan, I'm shocked because I've only seen TV. I've been out of town for 2 weeks, New Jersey, New York, now Wilmington, so I haven't been there in 2 weeks. So you're telling me when I go home tonight, when I go back to my city tonight, that I'm not going to recognize it as I drive into my home and studio?
You can smell the burning building still. It smells like you're at a scene of a fire. You can smell it, the cars that have been burned, other things that have been burned, you can smell it. Trying to set fire to different buildings, it didn't work. You can smell it in the air. That burnt charcoal type smell, you can smell it. The city's dirtier than it's ever been. These protesters obviously leave their stuff all over the place, and that's minimal compared to what they've actually done to these businesses. But when you walk up and down the street and you see those little tiny storefronts, that you can tell are just mom and pop stores. It's not the big chain stores. It's a little tiny business and a good piece of real estate that those people, and you see the owners and the managers out there, and it's they're making ends meet, and they've sunk their savings into this to try and make a go of it, and they're succeeding and doing things to provide for their families. You see they've just been destroyed. I mean, the storefronts are gone. They're boarded up. The inventory is gone. I saw, when you at a cash register and you hit the button and the little money tray comes out and they count your change from the money, or they pull out the quarters and give you change. I've seen those just strewn across the street coming out of a nearby business where they just went in there and took all the cash out of the cash register and just dropped everything in the street. I'm telling you, it is a horrific sight, and the president's just not going to stand for it anymore. There's no reason for this to be the way it is, and the politicians who are egging this on, the media who make excuses and say, no, this is just part of what and who we are, that is a flat-out lie. It is not part of who we are. This country is the most welcoming, the most nurturing, the greatest idea ever realized, and we see it time and time again. You saw it with the space launch. You see it with the images of the cops embracing some of the protesters, the ones that are peaceful. You see the protesters protecting policemen with arm in arm, forming a human chain. That's what this country is. It's not these people who are so selfish to think that they have the right to destroy a business They have no idea who the owner of that business is. They have no idea what that person has had to sacrifice. They have no idea if that person immigrated to this country. They have no idea if they have a family to feed, and they don't care. They just want to show off and either steal something or get on camera breaking something. And either way, it's not just destructive, it's disgusting, and we're going to stop it.
How are we going to stop it tonight?
The president has been very clear in the in the Rose Garden yesterday that he has asked governors to deploy the National Guard in sufficient numbers, not to just have symbolic, but to be sufficient to control the streets. You saw last night when protesters were around here, as we got right up on the curfew imposed by the mayor, by the way, not by the president, but by the mayor of 7 p.m., and the people were still there. There were methods used, and I heard on television there were lethal methods and destructive methods used. They weren't. They dropped tear gas. They dropped flashbangs to get them out of the way. Those are non-lethal methods to move and clear the streets. It worked. It got people off the streets. It got people home. And, the president's going to make sure that whether we use local law enforcement, whether we use National Guard, or whether we use the military, we're going to be prepared to protect the citizens of this country and, quite frankly, protect those who want to peacefully protest as well. They deserve safety and security and protection, too.
Lee?
Yeah, hi, Hogan. Lee Murphy here, candidate for the United States Congress from Delaware. Your description of what's going on in the nation's capital should make every law-abiding citizen of this country's blood boil. And I think what I've seen last night, what distresses me the most is the defacing of our war memorials in Washington. The World War II memorial, the Korean War memorial. Can you tell me a little bit more about the condition of those monuments?
Yeah, I've only seen a couple of them, and of course I've seen some images, but that you hit on something I didn't even touch on, and that's one of the most disgusting pieces of this. The World War II, Korean War, the Lincoln Memorial, someone who stood up and the great emancipator, changed the landscape of this country forever. I mean, this is a sad thing. Slavery is not unique in the world. It's not unique, across the globe. What's unique about America is that we got rid of it, and Abraham Lincoln was front and center in doing that. And to deface that monument as well, all over buildings, up and down roads, not just monuments or memorials, but just random buildings are spray painted with graffiti, with foul language, with horrible pictures, with messaging that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That's just part of the deal, and so your heart grieves for everyone involved in this. We've got to stop it. The president wants to do it, and he's doing everything he can to make sure it happens.
Wouldn't it be nice if the people that have been spray painting those monuments, wouldn't it be nice if they were caught and actually had to clean it off?
Yeah, or do something.
Yes.
Right, or sweep up the glass. It's I've been to Washington now 4 years. I've come to love the city. I live in Eastern Market, which is just a beautiful area. It's all trees and it's all families, kids, and dogs. And my cat comes there to get rid of the rats. It's just an iconic little neighborhood. 8th Avenue's got all the little shops. Now it's been hard because it's been closed, and all the business owners that I know in living there during the week, they can't open. They're losing. I mean, and just to hear the way Hogan described it, I've been out of town for 2 weeks. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to go back to tonight, or even how the studio is that I haven't been at. I have absolutely no earthly idea, so I'm going to find out. But it's sad, Hogan. I mean, those of us that live in the city, either full-time or during the week like I do, I mean, you really come to love Washington, D.C. And people have asked me about it. Is it dirty? Is it? No, it's clean.
Very clean.
It's very clean, and there's families there, and everybody's got a dog or a pet or something. Kids running around. You go out on a Friday evening early, or when I stay there when Ann comes up for the weekend, my wife Ann, I mean, there's baby carriage after baby carriage. All you see. Now, we do have a problem with the rats, and so I have to bring my big tabby cat up, Sammy, every 3 months in order to clean it out. But you have to deal with that. But they're just part of the neighborhood. But other than that, I mean, it's just sad to see what has happened. And you get to know Hogan, you get to know in my neighborhood, you get to know all the business owners. I mean, I eat at the same restaurants. I shop at the little grocery store. You get to know everybody. They become part of your family, your friends.
Washington, D.C., I worked on the railroad for 35 years
Right.
for Amtrak as a train engineer. And I was in Washington almost.
You were there all the time.
All the time. And yeah, like you say, it's a beautiful place, and it's gotten better and better and better over the years. And
sad.
it's just, God, I can't imagine when you go back tonight what it's going to look like.
Hogan, you really caught me off guard with that and took me aback because I've been traveling. But listen, thank you.
And I'm sorry to do that, but I just got to tell you what you're in for, because it really does hurt your heart to see what's going on here for many, 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 many reasons. And you'll see it tonight. And I don't envy you for coming here for the first time, but you need to see it, because you need to understand exactly what's going on, and you need to tell your listeners far and wide why this cannot stand. And we've got to make sure that everyone in this country is safe and protected. The government's set up to protect its people, and they've got to do it.
Well, I've been on the road 2 weeks. I'm coming home tonight. Hogan Gidley, I want to thank you, as always, for being with us, and Hogan, of course, for sharing. He is the Deputy Assistant to President Trump and Principal Deputy Press Secretary. And just sad, and hopefully we can get this behind us. But yeah, I'll go in there tomorrow, and I'll stay through the next several days and tell everybody exactly what I see. Hogan, thank you for your time. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Y'all be careful. Talk to you soon.
John Fredericks Radio Network. Thanks for being with us live in Wilmington.